Today we are going to continue the analysis itself. If you guys have been able to understand a bit of what we've taught so far, the remaining just to know how to select, how to arrange your data, then you are good to go to move the data into the software. Then you analyze it, and that will be all. Because the most important aspect, that was why I was not so much in a hurry to bring this aspect. I wanted to be sure that you've understood those uh, preliminary aspects, which will form a strong foundation upon which um, every other thing we are going to discuss will be built on. So it's very essential that you are able to you understand what how to choose a test, at what point do you use a particular test, and also what constitute dependent and independent variable and all the like. So if you've been able to get that, I think we are almost we are doing well there. Then also probably even after now, if there is any question that you need to ask, you can always send it to me on WhatsApp. On my, not necessarily on the group, it can just be, you can DM me, just ask the question, then I will equally respond to it. And another thing, whatever I'm going to be doing now, make sure that on your own you generate data and try to practice. That is how you're going to learn. Even though I'm going to teach, let's say I will keep teaching you from today till next year. If you don't do an independent practice and made mistake, then we'll correct those mistakes, can analyze, then screenshot the result or snap the result and let me see. Or put it in the MS Word form, can send it to me. I'll look through it to be sure that okay, what you did was right. And if it wasn't right, I will not tell you, okay, this is what you are supposed to do. The reason why I'm saying so that will not unnecessarily be elongating the class. Even after the training ends, my lines, the WhatsApp is still open. You can always ask questions and I will respond. Then for those that I will not be able to respond to online, what I will do is to send you probably a link, a YouTube video or a book for you to read. Then you will be able to understand better. That is how you're going to learn this. Not just about attending the training and all of that. No, you need to keep practicing, getting your hand dirty with data. Then before you know, you become a very good data analyst at this point. Then you can then move further to now move into a deeper aspect of data analysis or data science, as the case may be. So, but you must understand, you must have full grasp of all this preliminary aspect of data analysis, or else you will not fully appreciate the what would I put it down, the tool that you have in your hand. But if you don't practice, if you don't play with data, you just generate data. It don't need to be a real life situation. just look at, okay, which data can I use to do regression, which data can I use to do all kind of data or you can even go online, can just say
Mm.
data set for student t-test.
Okay.
You will see it, it will come out, you just download it. Data set for ANOVA, one way ANOVA, you see it. Data set for my unit text, you see it. Data test for chi-square and all of that. You will see the data set. Can be in Excel form or it can be in PDF. Then you just type it out in Excel and it exports to SPSS and run. That is how you are going to. And after now, I will also send you guys a link where you can keep on developing. You subscribe to the channel, then um you keep learning for every new video that the group release. Then you can always um learn from it. Then keep building from there. So that's just basically what I want to. So now we are going to be going full into the analysis itself. We're going to look at some data set. We're going to look at how to run frequency, how to do descriptive statistics, and how to run ANOVA. Then probably maybe tomorrow or Sunday. Tomorrow, tomorrow is very going to be very busy. So we're going to move it to Sunday. So have quite enough time to work on Sunday. And looking most likely, we should finish the class on Sunday. We can't finish it on Sunday. Then within the next week, one day of next week, then we should be able to round it up. Because what we just left now is just for us to analyze, see what is done. Just import your data, play, and you see your results. That's all. So I'm going to then this PowerPoint, I'm going to send it across to us. Is actually full of everything that I'm going to be practically looking at. But I will send it to you guys so that you can always make reference to it at any point in time if there is need for you to analyze. You may not even, for example, now, if you want to report any data, you don't need, all you just need to do is to come here. Okay, there is a cell file I want to export. You just, even when I'm not there, you can easily, I'm going to share my screen. I don't think I've done that. So, so that you'll see what I'm demonstrating. So basically, this is what this is now we have we have this PowerPoint, and this is the software. So I want to be showing you. You can appreciate it. Let me move here. I'm going to reduce this. Uh, So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now I was just trying to say that the importance of this PowerPoint is that you'll be able to actually demonstrate, look at it, and even practice on your own. Now, if you want to export Excel data, for example, all you need to do is say go to File, click on
Mm-hmm.
Open, then Data, then you select the file. Now, this is what we are saying. You go to File, which is this file, click on
Mm-hmm.
Open, which is this Open, then you click on Data, which is this data. Then to take
Mm-hmm.
you, for example, this is a, document, but wherever you store your data, you can always access it. Mine is, for example, is on desktop. Then I move it to desktop. Then since it's a Excel file, I'm going to be open. What I just need to do is to click on Excel. So all the Excel file that I have now I'll be able to access it. Now if it's training folder, okay, not this. Take it back. Uh, back. So training folder. Now whatever, if it's any of this, I just click on it, then it will open up. So basically that is how to what you need to do. Then the analysis itself. Now to analyze, was talking about descriptive statistics. So I want to up, move back the data. There was a data set that we worked on last week. Then now look, if there is a recent data you worked on, all you just need to do is to recent data, then recent file. But it's recent data now I'm looking at. Then the recent data we worked on was this particular data, which is this. So I'll click on it, see that it has come up. Can you
Okay.
see it
Yes.
now? Yeah. So the reason why this data is we're going to be using this data so much. Now you can look at. I hope this other guy is still with us. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So now I
Okay.
want to we've successfully import our data rather. Then we want to do the first stage of analysis now, which is for us to do descriptive statistics. Even before even deciding on the kind of analysis you are going to be running, the first thing is for you to run a descriptive statistic. Now, either a descriptive statistic or you run what we call frequency. Frequency will be appropriate if you are dealing with categorical variables. I know when I say categorical, now you know what I mean. So
Yes,
same
that's it.
also, if you are dealing with continuous variable, then the best is for you to do a descriptive, to run descriptive for them. And how do you run descriptive? You can see you go to analyze, then you go to descriptive statistic, then you click on descriptives. So let's practicalize that. This is analyze,
Okay.
then you click on descriptive statistic. You can see that we have frequency here, then we have descriptive. Then we'll click on descriptive. Now here we want to check age. Let's just assume we want to these are what we want to run descriptive. Let's just say to this point. We can run descriptive on any of these continuous. You can see that you can only run descriptive on continuous variable. Can you see that?
Okay.
Yeah, can only run descriptive on continuous variable. Now we are going to look at frequency. You can also run frequency on descriptive variable, but descriptive is more appropriate. Then you click on
Hello,
option. Now you can see that
hello,
by default, can you hear me? Yes.
hello. Can you hear me? Please, before you
Yeah, I can
start
hear
this
you.
analysis proper, can you like
Yeah.
just go back a little bit to like after you extract your data from Excel, there was a way that you showed
Uh,
us into like turning it to SPSS data so that it can be analyzed.
okay. Is it transforming the data?
Yes, please. Yeah, exactly. That transformation. Yes, I was thinking that's where you start.
Okay, that transformation was just basically on okay, what brings about the transformation was when I make mention that there are some kind of analysis that you want to do that, for example, this is if you go back to this place, we can see that case definition is string.
Okay.
Do you remember me mentioning string?
Yes.
Mm.
Hello?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
this is string.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
said that
Remember.
there are some analysis that you want to do. that you cannot move string into the variable. For example, let's say in the bit of wanting to analyze, let's say you want to do control analysis. When I mean control analysis, you want to analyze only cases, and you want to also analyze only at a point, you want to also analyze only control. If it's string, you will not be able to achieve that. So what do? You have to go and transform your data. I said to transform. I don't know if you are following now. You go to transform. Then I make mention that on no condition should you use recode into same variable. I think you should remember that. That the best is to recode into different variable. Now you click on that, then you move what you want to. This is what we want to transform. Then you click on name output variable. Then you click on subject. Let's say subject. Remember, I said there must not be space between them. You use underscore
Okay.
subject classification, because if you put space between them, it will not. It will tell you illegal character. Then whatever name you want it to come on, let's say subject. You can put space in here now. Subject classification for this one. So once you do that, you click on OK. Sorry. See what I'm saying? Now you can't return back. You have to type it all over. Project classification. Classification. So you click on change. Then you now click on old and new value. Remember that here, case, I say wherever you see, you must spell it the way it is there. I say wherever you see case, call it 1. And wherever you see control, call it 2. So done that, continue, then you click on OK. So automatically, if you go to the end of this data, you're going to see it display. Can you see it? So to make sure that they are still in that same format, all you need to do now is to now come down. You can see now it's now number, it's no longer string. Then you come back here and come and add the value. 1 is case, y2 is what? Control.
Control.
So, click OK. So if you go back here now, you can see that we have successfully transformed that. Then another thing you can also do again is, if you want to do that of numbers now. Let's say age, you want to create age groups. Are you
Yes.
with me? Now, I
Yes.
said you want to create age group. What you need to do before you can create this age group, you have to go and know what is the maximum and what is the minimum. And you can do that using um, frequency. So you go to analyze, then you click on frequency, descriptive statistics, then you click on frequency. Then age is what we want to check. So all we are interested in is just the minimum and the maximum. You want to know what is, then you check out the display frequency. We don't need that. Then you just click on OK. So once you click on OK, you can see that it will bring it out for you. Minimum is 20, then the maximum is 40. So you cannot choose how many classes do you want. If it's, for example, it's 5 classes you want. Between 20 and 40, we have 21 different, 21. So if it's 5 class, so meaning that it's going to be 21 divided by 5, which will be 4 interval. But I think let's make it 5 interval. So that would be we'll have 4 groups. So then you can close this. Then you go to transform now. Then you go to record to different variable. Then you have to reset this. It's another thing we want to move now. Age underscore
Yes.
group. Are you following?
Yes.
Age group. You click on OK. Then click on old and new. Now remember that the first one it was value, but here now we are talking about range. Are you with me?
Mm.
We are talking about range. So the first one is 20 to 25. That will be 1. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes.
So the second one is 26 through 30 will be 2. Then 31 through 35 will be 3. Then you add. Then 36 through 40 will be 4. Are you with me? You
Yes.
add. So you click on OK, then you click on continue. So once you go back to the end of this variable, you're going to see that it has been created. But you need to go and then add the values, tell what 1 is. And so we know that 1 is 20
20,
through
25,
25 years.
Mm.
So you add. Then 2 is
26 to 30,
26, uh, 26 through
Yes.
30,
30 years. And 3 is
31
31,
to
1
35.
through 35 years. Yes. Then number 4 is 36
36
through
to 40.
40.
One.
Yes. So if you have auto depending it no that's the reason why it's important you check the maximum and the minimum. That will inform the number of classes you are going to have.
Okay.
So we've done that successfully. So you can see we have it here. So we can save this, save. So if it's I've already saved it, but if it's the first time, you have to save as just the way you save your MS Word. So I don't know, is that clear now?
Yes, then please one last thing. After you finish the coding, like you finish
Yes,
transforming the data, I noticed that
yes.
you didn't alter the measure. Like I note like the measure is showing nominal, and I noticed that you left it like that.
All the what?
All the measure, like when you
Yes,
go
yes,
through the
yes. They
yeah,
are.
like
Yes,
these
these are going to
measures.
be. Yeah, these are going to
But
be
like this
nominal.
okay.
They are
But like
nominal.
that case
They are.
of like that this one this age group is it not supposed to be ordinal?
You can put ordinal or nominal. You are actually still nominating, but I think for more appropriate, you can actually
Because
make it. You can make it ordinal because they are
from your class
in
on
form
this
of
measure
order.
you told us that
Yes,
when
yes.
you are nominating between two things, that's when you use nominal, and if it's
Mm-hmm.
more than
It's
like
not
two
only
when
two.
you're
It's not only two things. No, it's
okay.
not only two things. Uh, it can nominal can actually still fit here because what you are simply saying you are nominating them into different age group,
Okay.
but you can also want to put them in ordinal in form of because we are looking at from high to low age then high age, so it can either be nominal or ordinal. It does not really have a impact, so to say. Are you with me?
Okay.
Okay, so in summary, ordinal and nominal is the same thing.
It's not the same. I'm saying that, but in some cases, it could work the same. For example, now, if you look at this is this 20 to 25 years. This can be order, form of graded. Are you with me?
Rank. Mm-hmm.
Ranked. Let's use the word ranked. So you can see that this is ranked. So appropriately, we can actually make this ordinal because they are in order. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you can also leave it to be nominal because it will not affect, it will not actually influence whatever outcome you are going to generate from here. Are you with me? So where there is issue is, for example, something that is continuous, you are making it ordinal. Are you with me?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or making it ordinal or nominal. So for the sake of clarity purpose, let's just make it as ordinal. Let's assume that we put them in different grade of age group, which we
Mm.
did. So is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So let's dive straight to now descriptive. I want to minimize it so that we can be seen. Now, on the PowerPoint said you go to analyze descriptive statistic, then descriptive. So we move to analyze, then you go to descriptive, then you go to descriptive statistic, then you go to descriptives, then you click on descriptives, then you move you want to check then you notice that descriptive here, you can see that we also have a subject classification because they are set them to number. Are you with me? Hello?
Yeah, we are with you.
Yes. Mm.
Okay. So you click on option, then you can see that by default, mean is selected, standard deviation is selected, minimum and maximum is selected. But
Mm.
most times, some kind of study will require standard error of mean. Then some will equally require you doing variance. But range most time is not so important. But this um, distribution, usually, if you want to check if they are normally distributed, another thing that you usually check is ketosis and skewness. Then you can click on that. But if you want to really check if data is normally distributed, this is not actually the best place to check that. We also look at that now. So you click on continues, then you click on OK. So once you click on OK, you can see that the output has been generated for us here. Are you with me? Now you can see here, this is the age. You tell us
Okay.
the
Automatically.
the years, the numbers of individuals. Then
Data.
it will tell
Number
you
age.
the minimum and the maximum, which is this. Then the mean, you tell us this is the mean, and this is standard error of mean. Are you with me? Then it will tell
Mm.
us the standard deviation, and to tell us variance. Those were the things we selected. Then for skewness, it will
Mm.
tell us the skewness, then it will tell us standard error of skewness, then it will tell us the ketosis and standard error of ketosis. But basically here, what is most important to you is sometimes this maximum and minimum could be important, but it's the mean, the standard error of mean, the standard deviation. If you look at most results, what most usually report is mean plus or minus standard deviation, or mean plus or minus standard error of mean. Are you with me? So these are
Mm.
actually where the what is most important to you in this place. Except some cases, you may want to check what the variance is, you may want to check what the maximum and the minimum is. Now, where this is very important to check the distribution of the data. You can see the LH now. You can see someone having an LH as low as 1.0 and another person having the one as 115. You can see that there is going to be outliers in this data. And when we say outlier, Outliers are usually extreme values. And when we say extreme value, we are talking about extreme value could be actually two forms. It could be high extreme values or low extreme values. So, for example, this is a low extreme value, and this could be a high extreme value, looking at the deviation between them. So, for us to understand better, you can see that the deviation between these two is just 20. Now, but if you come here, you can see the deviation here is actually very much. You can see 114.250, while here we have 116.24. But if you look at the mean, you can see that this is the mean. Then you can see the standard deviation. But you see the standard error of mean. So those are the basis statistic that you can just easily pick from there. But if you want to check if this data is normally distributed like we were learned in the other, you still go to descriptive. Then in this case, you go to explore. Again, go to descriptive, analyze rather, go to descriptive statistic, then you click on explore. So once you click on explore, now the one you want to check um, normal distribution for, let's say you want to check for age, you want to check for LH, then you move them into this box. Now, under the statistics, you make sure that this is descriptive is clicked. Then you may want to check percentile too. You can click that. Then maybe outlier, you can also click on to check if there are outliers. Then for plot, make sure that normality plot is selected. Then histogram is selected. Then this stem and leaf is deselected. So make sure that normality plot with test is selected, because this is where you are going to see to check if it's actually normally distributed. Then you click on OK and make sure that both is also show here, because if you click on only statistic, it's only stack that will show. You can see the plot is deselected. So you have to, if you click on only plot, statistic will be deselected. So it has to be both. You click on that, then you click on not showing there any other thing you want to add, no. Then you click on OK. So you can see that we're going to have this data now still running. So we can see that we have this data. So you can see for the female, it tells us the mean, which we already know. The upper 50% confidence interval, lower bound and upper bound also tell us that. Then 5% trim mean, we don't really need that. Then to tell us the median. In some in some um, in some studies, they will tell you to report the median, especially when we are dealing with data that are not normally distributed. In most cases, you don't report mean for those kind of data. You report median. You can see the variance, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, the range, the interquartile range. Then we have the skewness, then we have the kurtosis here. Then you can see for that's for the age. Then the next one is for the FSH. Then the last one is for the LH. Then we now move to percentile. Then we can see we have the 5 percentile, we have the 10 percentile, we have 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, 90th percentile, and 95 percentile for each of them. Then we can also see for the talking hedge percentile. Talking hedge percentile will only report 25, 50, and 75, but that's not really. Then extreme values. Now, extreme value, you can see here under age, we have some extreme values. Now, you can see that 20 we have here. So these are some of the value that he's just trying to tell us how they occur, but these are not really important at all. So now the most important aspect of this after this table is actually this test of normality. Remember when we are dealing with test of normality, I made mention of KS test. Then I will know that for KS test from the what was it called, from the plot I gave to you guys, we are told that if there is statistical significant difference between the for the KS test, it shows that the data is not normally distributed. So you can see that here all the data say are not normally distributed because they were statistically significant. Can you see that?
Okay.
They were statistically significant because this is 0.001000. I know that in since we are using 95% confidence interval, value less than 0.05 automatically means that they are statistically significant, while those greater than 0.05 are statistically insignificant. If you are using 0.05, that is 5% margin error. That is 95%
5%
confidence interval. Yes.
error.
So
That
now
means
for
they
us
are
to,
not normally distributed.
they are not normally distributed. So for us to look at that further, you can you come and check your histogram. Now, for you to know, there's usually a curve. Is that curve that usually tell us better story. So you just double click on it, then you come and click on this part for that curve to show. So you can see the curve has shown for this. So you can see that looking at this now, you can see that if this was normally distributed,
Mm,
this should be at the center. A majority of the data should be at the center. Are you with me?
mm,
Not
mm,
on this side. And you
Yes.
can see that there's a whole side here that is left out where there
That
is nothing. So it's not
mm.
normally distributed. Then the next one, we'll look at the we look at also the bus plot. Now, remember that when I was teaching on checking for normality, we say that if a data set is normally distributed, this particular line will be almost at the center of the box.
Mm,
Yes. So that will show you that is also, then you can see this one now. For the FSH, you can see automatically this is not normally distributed. You can see it is actually if you compare this plot with the plot on the um on the slide I sent to you guys, you can see that
slide.
this is a right skew. Hello?
yes.
Yeah, this is right skew.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So yeah, you can see this one, you can see a lot of extreme values here. So all these ones that you are seeing, they are extreme values. So meaning that there are a lot of outliers on this data. So most times what you do, once you have this kind of outliers, what you do, you go back and check the data to be sure. What is telling us now that number one is an outlier, number 47 is outlier, number 33 is outlier, 18, 44, 25, 50, 57, 22, 20. They are outliers. So you have to go and check those numbers to be sure that they are not actually, maybe at the cost
Okay.
of typing in. Maybe when you are typing your data instead of 19 point something, for example, you now make it 190 something. So those
Okay.
could be what is responsible for that. You can also see that this is also an extreme value. But once you check and you sure that those your value are correct, then what you do in this case, you may not actually be running parametric test for this kind of test. So you will run non-parametric test. So I don't know if you are getting what I'm saying now. So usually when you run normality test on your data and they are not normally distributed, you're not supposed to go ahead and run parametric test analysis. You are supposed to do non-parametric test. An example of non-parametric test is the Manhune unit test and the others. Why the parametric test are the t-test, the ANOVA, the regression, and all of that. That's why if you look at those tables that where I was talking about choosing um choosing right statistic, we will always ask, is it normally distributed? And if it's no, there is
Mm.
a test to do. If it's yes, there is a test to use. So it's very, very important that before you go ahead to start doing hypothesis testing or testing hypothesis in any work you are doing, the first thing you should do, run your descriptive statistic, then go ahead and check for your normality. But the truth is that in practice, majority of our academics, our academicians, our lecturers, and all of that, a whole lot of them are not statisticians. So they will always
Yes.
want you to report mean and median. Uh-huh. But if you are going to be sending your work for publication in high repute journals, they will always check for those things. How do you, on what basis did you establish, did you use this test? Was the data normally distributed? If they were not normally distributed, why do you do that? So, ability, for example, if we are doing your postgraduate program and let's assume your master's supervisor is not really someone that is very sound in statistics, then you may just have to report that data in mean or median. But what I will always advise is you do it, you can still report the mean and the median, the mean and the standard deviation, but you can also report the median. Then you using the appropriate test instead of you doing a t-test for a
Mm.
data that is not normally distributed. Even when you report the mean and the median, or the mean and the standard deviation and the rest, you must make sure that the test you are quoting, you are reporting, that you use to compare. Let's say you are comparing the FSH, for example, between let's say between um, let's say male and female, for example. I'm just using that as an example. And this data is not normally distributed. No, the appropriate test you are supposed to do if they were normally distributed, since you are comparing mean, it should be a t-test, a student t-test. But because it's not normally distributed, what you now do, you can still report your mean and your standard deviation, then you can report your median too in this case. Then you, instead of using t-test, then you now use your human, that is Whitney test to compare them instead of using your t-test. So if your supervisor will now ask you why do you use that, then you cannot explain that the data was not normally distributed. It's a very,
Distributed.
very, yes, it's a very, very important area. Although a whole lot of people don't pay. I've actually heard of a story of where a PhD student was stepped down because instead of him to do non-parametric analysis, the person went ahead and do parametric analysis.
Mm.
And the external examiner that came is somebody that is very sound with statistics. And he stepped down the whole work
Statistics.
that the person should go and redo the statistics. Yes, the person did a very nice job, wonderful work, but the statistic test that was used was wrong. And once your statistic is wrong, your interpretation of the data will be wrong. So your discussion will be wrong. So automatically it will influence, it will have impact on all aspect of your work, peradventure, eventually rather. So I don't know if we've gotten the gist.
We are trying to get it. That means um, someone just needs to know when to use that parametric
Parametric
test and
and
non-parametric test. That means
non-parametric test.
it's not in depends on your data, or and it seems the non-parametric
And
tests are
depending on
more
your data, first
is
and foremost, for
difficult
example, if it's just
somehow
a
that
gathering.
the
No, it's
than the
not really,
parametric.
it's not difficult. It's just that most people does not
Okay.
actually use non-parametric test because conventionally, once you ask somebody, no, you hardly hear someone asking you what is the median score. All you are hearing, what is the mean score? What is the mean score? What is the mean score?
Okay.
And you don't use mean score when the data is not normally distributed. You don't compare mean when your data is not normally distributed. So So basically, what you're supposed to
Okay.
do once you have your data set, if it's a new, I want you to always be getting this story. If it's a numeric data, if it's
Mm,
not numeric, all these story are
mm,
not important. For example, if you are going to be comparing
okay.
prevalence of malaria, checking risk factor and all of that, all these gist are not
Mm,
important. But when you are looking at continuous variable, for example, checking the blood
test
glucose
like
level of
that
male
has
and female,
figures.
yes, that have figure
Cholesterol, this kind of
numeric
okay.
data, cholesterol, or for
Okay.
example,
Mm,
checking the growth
mm,
of plants. Let's say the try to check the growth of plant. No, the growth of plant is usually measured in height, and height is continuous too.
mm,
Are you getting me now?
okay.
Yeah, the number of fruits
Mm,
that is produced by a plant is also numbers. It's
mm,
numeric.
mm,
So the weight of
okay.
something is numeric. The BMI, the body mass index is numeric. So
Yes.
anything that have to
Okay.
do with numeric, yes, measurement and all of that,
Okay.
going to we're supposed to run normality test on it before you go ahead
Okay.
to do anything at all.
Okay.
If you are opportune to see journals from
Mm,
very reputable publishing houses, not
mhm,
journals, you always see they always make reference that okay, for parametric test this is what we use, for the non-parametric test this is what we use, for the categorical variable
mm,
this is what we use. Then we're still going to get there, even though it's also categorical. Or for example, if it's just
mm,
categorical, we don't just also go ahead and just do a chi-square. There are also conditions that have to be met. I think I remember mentioning that if you have for example, you are checking the let's say the malaria prevalence in male and female in a particular location. No, we have a positive and a negative bus. Then we have a male and a
mhm,
female part. So if within a bus you all you have there, let's say you have 4 positive, then you have 10 negative, then you have another 20 negative, then you have another 40 positive, for example.
mm,
Because there is 4 there, it has invalidate chi-square. So you can't use chi-square there. You have to use Fisher exact test because the number in the
okay.
box there must be greater or equal to 5 for you to use chi-square statistic.
Use chi-square.
Yes, and once it's
Okay.
less than 5, automatically use
Mm,
Fisher
okay.
exact test to compare
Okay.
or
Wow.
to check for association. So those are some of the things that they are all of them in those PowerPoints that I actually give to you guys. So you guys need to sit down and actually read that PowerPoint descriptively.
That particular one on choosing the statistical test now. No, that one
Very,
is
very
much.
important. It's
Choosing the
much.
right statistical test.
Yeah, choosing the right statistic. So
And some things are
basically,
just like they are repeating.
of course, keep repeating so that you you keep grabbing it. Uh, so basically, that is that. So we just after we've done this. Now we're going to assume now that this okay. Let's assume now that we've done this now. It's not statistically sorry. It's not normally distributed. So what we do
Mm,
is for us to now come, okay, this thing is not normally distributed. So what I want to compare, for example, the age between the cases and the control. Are you with me?
okay.
Hello?
I'm
So in
with
this
you.
case, we cannot do, uh, yeah, is this guy still with us? Okay, he is. So we can't do a t-test, which is usually comparing mean. In this case, you can see that all these ones, these are parametric tests. All these are parametric tests. Regression too, some part of it are parametric. Then you can see here, you can see non-parametric test. Can you see non-parametric
Mm.
test? Now, under the
Yes.
non-parametric test, we have one sample. Now,
Sample.
is the same as one sample t-test.
T-test.
Can you see the similarity now? Now, for the non-parametric test, no sample. But
Mm.
here, remember that is what we want to compare is actually two things. We want to compare the age between male and female. And the age of males are not dependent on the female. So if it was normally distributed, the best thing for us to have used here is independent sample t-test. Are
Okay.
you following?
Yes.
Now, what I want to repeat, that.
Is
What I'm saying here, one sample t-test is when you are comparing, you already know, have a standard. Let's say you want to compare the mean value of glucose of
mm.
female to a control. Are you with me? To all glucose control. We
Mm.
already know what glucose control. We know the value already. Let's say it's 110 milligram per dl.
Mm.
Assuming. So what you now do, you only take the sample of the females or the women and run the glucose. Then you now compare the mean value with the already established control value. And because it's only one group we are collecting sample from, we call it one sample t test.
Okay.
Now, this scenario is only possible if we are looking at normal distribution here. But if we are looking for
Mm.
not normally distributed data, we also have a one sample analysis here. In this one sample analysis, we also collect sample from female, but the data was not normally distributed. We also have a control. So we'll not do one sample analysis here. Now, to demonstrate that, let's just click here. Now, we go to the fields. So in this case, let's say, I'm just assuming, let's say we want to compare this. So now, uh, so tell us to run. So it's going to bring up our results. So you can see that it has run this for us. So you can see that it run one sample binomial, one sample chi-square, one sample binomial, one sample, just in that format. So you can see that it ran for all the different analysis that we did. So to actually see that more, you can see here. Can you see that? So it will tell you the degree of freedom, to tell you the test statistic, then it will not tell you. You can see, basically to just show you the different, although this is not a very a good example though. But what I just want you to get here is that once you have non-parametric test, non-normally distributed data, then you run non-parametric. Then in this case now, let's say we want to run independent sample here, in this case on the age. Then remember that is age here that we want to run. Then
Mm.
the group, remember that we are comparing for the cases and the control. So you can see that this is the test field, which you move the value or the variable you want to here, then you now move here. Then under setting, now you can see we have different kind of now this will automatically select the best test that is supposed for you, but usually you have to customize. But remember, we are dealing with two sample, and because we are dealing with two
Mm.
sample, remember I mentioned this particular test, Mann-Whitney U
Mm.
test. So this is actually the most appropriate test in this case because we are comparing two samples. So if we are comparing more than like one way and over now, this will be the appropriate test. So you
Okay.
click on run. So it will run this data, run our data for us. So let's open this. So you can see that it has, can you see what it has done to our data now?
Automatic.
That show us the case,
Yeah.
that showed us the control. Yeah, yeah, it
The
showed us
control.
then it also showed us the number, then it showed us the, what's it called? And it will not tell you whether it's statistically significant. You can see that there's no it was not statistically significant. Can you see it? Because this is 0.
Mm.
This is 0.596 and it's not statistically significant. Can you see it?
Mm.
Are you with me?
Yes, I'm
Can
seeing it.
you can see here that the number of cases is 81, while the number of control is 51. Then
Mm.
you can see the ranked, me ranked 67.8, 67.9. Then me ranked is 64.28. So you
Mm.
can see that there was no really difference between the cases and the control.
Control.
Now, to better understand, let's use one that might likely be statistically significant. Let's still move here, then we'll move the field here. Yeah, okay. But in this case, let's move this out. Then let's move FSH, or okay, let's move LH inside. Then every other thing remain the same. So let's see what the outcome is going to be. So let's consider it's already showing all this is significant. Can you see the rank?
Okay.
The cases is having 76.75, while the control is having 50.22. So you can see that it's statistically significant.
Because it's less than it's 0.01.
Yeah, it's less than 0.05.
Mm.
And see the significant level is set at 0.05.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that just basically that. So that is, we are assuming now that the data was not normally
Normally
distributed.
distributed.
Let's now assume that the data was normally distributed. Now you come here, you say compare mean. Are you with me now?
Mm.
Then we move our female. Let's also move, let's say FSH here. Then this group, remember that the group here we are comparing is, now another thing, you need to define what your group are. Do you see the reason why we needed to go and indicate those things as one? Remember we coded it as one and what and two.
Two.
Are you with me? So you
Mm.
click on continue. Then if you want every other thing remain the same, then click on OK. So it's going to give us, now you can see now, tell us the mean, the standard deviation for this. Then this is the T value. You can see the T value here. You can see the age, just
Mm.
the same way. You can see the age here. The age, the mean age between the cases and the control was not statistically significant. Merely looking at it here, you can see that this is 31.00, this is 30.35. Can you see that? So
Mm.
you can see that the p-value too was 0.422. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you see that? Now, coming to the FSH, you can
Mm.
see the cases. We have 12.035, while the control was
Fine.
5.925. So merely looking at this, you can see that there is a statistical significant difference in between them. But we don't just say that, then we come here, you can see the T value now is 2.948. This is the T student value. then you can see that this is 0.004. So you can see it's less than 0.05. So it's actually
Mm.
statistically significant. So that just basically that is it. So any question at this moment?
Mm.
Any question?
Ask questions about
For now, no.
yeah,
I
I want
think
to ask
Okay.
today
about
own.
those outliers.
Okay, go on. Hello.
About those outliers. Like,
Yes,
yeah, can you hear me? I said about those outliers. Like,
I can hear you. I can hear you.
if you don't, if you don't set a range of values, how does the software bring out the outliers? That's just what I do.
If you don't set what?
Like
No,
you,
the
if you don't,
software have ability to
let's
actually,
talk
yes,
about
the software have ability to actually measure to it, usually when it measure the mean. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Hello.
yes,
Once
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
with
the
here.
you.
so once the software determine the mean, then any value that is way higher than the mean, it will take it as extreme value, as outlier. Then any value too that is
Mm.
way lower than the mean, it will take it
Mm.
as extreme value too. Are you with me?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So that just basically what happened. So I think at this moment we may have to stop because my battery is getting low. So
All right.
I want you guys to go and get some generate data, then play with it, make mistakes, then and let us correct you. Then we'll meet on Sunday, God's willing.
All right then. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, thank you too.
Oh, hmm.
Yeah.